feel like the odd number years are all the best ones for video games, where all the big, massive, unparalleled games are released. Not to say that the even ones are bad, but in 2015 we got Witcher 3, in 2016 we got Doom and Uncharted. Still great, but not huge games. 2017 there was The Legend of Zelda, which everybody loves. While I played a bit of it myself, I still really enjoyed it. But I played it this year instead, which is why it wasn't on last year's list. But this year, the trend was broken. So many huge games were released this year. However, some were less recognised or less congratulated for their accomplishments. A lot on this list are like that, probably about half. So hopefully you can discover some different or new titles that you were not even on your radar as we all wait for Cyberpunk. But let's get straight into it. At the number 10 spot we have A Way Out by director Joseph Juarez, teaming up with EA to save the company and actually release something good this year. A 2-player split-screen or online-only game of prison escape, family and friendship against the odds in this extremely experimental title. This game automatically gets praise from me, as I believe any game with multiplayer or co-op needs to be split-screen, especially shooters and racing games. Anyway, it's the concept that hooks you and the story that keeps you. The gameplay, while consistently fresh and original and innovative, isn't as marvellously smooth as the rest of the game, but still worth supporting, as none of the profit goes into EA's greedy paws. At number 9, We Happy Few comes in with a very similar situation. Great story and characters with great world building, but lacking in the smoothness of the gameplay department. The vibrant colours and neon lights make this game look gorgeous, but such simplified combat makes you wonder why it's even there. It doesn't overly seem like it needs to be, but that's why it's not higher on the list. Number 8 is Spider-Man by Insomnia, creators of the criminally underrated Sunset Overdrive. I might just do a review next on that game. The visuals, the story, the variety, the combat, and oh my god, the web swinging is
fucking spectacular, eh?
Some repetitive side objectives and the token collecting, while fine at first with different ways for different tokens, becomes frustrating when they're required to upgrade just about everything. If that sounds nitpicky, it is, because everything else is so great. The hidden gem of the year, the Banner Saga 3 is at number 7. A rich, handcrafted art-styled RPG with grid turn-based combat. The Game of Thrones of video games, as many have called this series, with heartfelt storytelling and interesting characters. More of a slow, methodical game, with kind of puzzle-like combat. The visuals and the long shots in this game are breathtaking, with the overall art design being something truly special as well. Character designs just pop and add to the amazingly beautiful world you get to explore. Truly fantastic. At number 6 we have Ashen, a Microsoft exclusive in the vein of, yes, Dark Souls, but becomes much more than that. The art style, while it takes some getting used to, is what hooked me from the trailers to release. Your character has no face, that's pretty cool. But the design of the world and the gameplay, I think, overshadows Dark Souls now. There's more wonder and intrigue into the world. I suppose that's because it looks less depressing, but this is a new standard for these Souls-inspired titles to reach for. The number 5 spot is God of War, a technical marvel as to what it has achieved. The whole game takes place in one shot. The effort that would have gone into that would be unparalleled. No loading screens between levels. They are hidden with cutscenes perfectly transitioning between it and gameplay. And the heartfelt, more down-to-earth story of this one compared to the previous games in this series is much appreciated change to the bombastic tone of the others. There are still great boss fights and over-the-top action, but it feels more personal this time. Great games seem to be coming from all directions at Sony. The hell are you doing, Microsoft? In 4th place is Vampire by Don't Not Entertainment, creators of the Life is Strange series and the criminally underrated Remember Me title from last gen. Certainly pick those games up as they achieve the same quality standard as this game. An action RPG set in Old England near the turn of the 19th century, approaching the Great War. Doctor turned vampire is coping with his new powers and hunger. A rich role-playing system where chatting someone up and then drinking their blood affects the story and the XP you get from that kill, whereas opposed to simply drinking the blood of someone you never met. The former grants you more rewards as a result. This kind of system creativity is present throughout the whole experience and really develops your sense of immersion in such a unique title. There aren't many good vampire games out there, but this is certainly one of them. Number 3 is Red Dead Redemption 2, the most anticipated game for probably 80% of the entire gaming community. Sorry, not for me. The first one was severely overrated in my opinion. While still interesting fun, I'm just seriously over the Rockstar gameplay at this point. I mean, for God's sake, spamming A to run is total crap. So I'm biased in that I'm over the Rockstar formula, but I'm not biased in that my expectations were not through the roof like everyone else. But in the end, I was thoroughly impressed. The gameplay hasn't changed sadly, but the world and detail and story and tremendous quantity of animations is astonishing. It's 2 discs on Xbox. This game is huge. The gameplay is the only thing holding it down. Rockstar needs to change this for their next titles. Hopefully a sequel to LA Noire. I have more hope in this since recently it was remastered, fingers crossed. Number 2 is Kingdom Come Deliverance. While apparently very buggy at launch, I wouldn't know, I picked it up later, this realistic medieval simulation is quite worth the 100 or so hours it asks of you. You begin with nothing, you can't even read, but you will learn, organically. Same with all the systems in this game, riding a horse, your efficiency in combat, as well as your stamina, and everything was thought out around this. The story takes this into account. And my, what a story it is. It works perfectly. In fact, just about everything in this game works perfectly. But there's one thing I really hate. The saving system. While it fits with the world and system of everything being manual, having to buy a really expensive potion to save is straight up bullshit. But everything else is a pleasure. And it really pains me that so many people wrote this game off at launch because of its bugs. It's so unfair when games like Skyrim, Fallout, The Witcher can release so broken and go to win Game of the Year for many people, but this smaller developer can't get the same courtesy when in many aspects it's better. Please support this gem, it deserves that at least, especially since all the bugs are gone now. And in first place for Game of the Year and the ReviewTube award that I just made up last year and thought it was funny to include this year, Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom. This game looked so amazing leading up to it, to the point that I bought a PS3 just so I could play the first one before release. I knew they weren't connected but still wanted to play it anyway. And oh my god, this game is incredible. It's so nice to find a game that's so lovely to play. It's nice and easy for the majority of the time. And the visuals are just like an animated film. This is because it was made with the help of Studio Ghibli, makers of Ponyo and Howl's Moving Castle, and lots of others. The latter being one of my favourite films of all time. The designs are just so enthralling, capturing exactly what makes the film so great, and elevating the storytelling to new heights that I don't think will be reachable again. There's such diversity in gameplay as well. There's the hack and slash combat, airship exploration, building your own kingdom, and many more deep systems working in harmony not achieved by most titles. I'm newish to the JRPG genre, But if this is what to be expected, screw everything else. Get this now. Wow, another Japanese game 2 years in a row. Now that says something about AAA games industry now. EA, Activision, Ubisoft, and even Bethesda these days really need to get their heads out of their asses and make some good games for gamers again. Make AAA great again. Be selling MAGA hats. Not really.
Oh, look
Bye.
at him dunking his bullets through him like a little girl. Can't believe it. Oh, I can't wait to put all this video on YouTube.